After just a few days ago, the trade market reportedly was low for Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. In the last 48 hours, we've got word that two teams could be highly interested in both of them. Yesterday was Zach LaVine. Today, reportedly, the Heat are interested in Nikola Vucevic. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And one of the creators of those shows as well is here today, Bobby, from the Cognac Boys over here, man. Also one of the co-creators of Chicago Bears Central. How you feeling, brother?
Doing well, man. Can't complain. It's a great day when we get to talk about something other than the team that wears blue and orange in the city.
Absolutely, because it's just all depressing over there. But so just a few hours ago, Bobby, it came out that the Miami Heat have some serious interest in trading for Nikola Vucevic. Now, this is a day after we heard that the Denver Nuggets are interested in trading for Zach LaVine. We'll get into kind of my conspiracy theory when it comes down to that in the second segment of this show. When you hear that the Heat could be interested in Vooch, and reportedly the goal here is to be able to move Bam back to the four. And, you know, Bam does have some issues guarding kind of the bigger fives. Not that Vooch is necessarily any better at that, but they could be looking to kind of take advantage. And, you know, Bam kind of struggled to start the season. What do you think when you hear Miami Heat, Nikola Vucevic? Do you think there's a fit there?
I absolutely do. Me personally, like you already alluded to, a lot of us call for Bam to be slotted in at five, but it appears that he's more comfortable at that four spot. And then Nikola Vucevic, he's going to be an offensive presence for the Miami Heat. He's going to be able to have outlet passes to open three-point shooters. He's going to be able to provide some type of stability, at least offensively, for Bam Adebayo and the crew. And then on the defensive side, it's Bam Adebayo is probably one of the, if you could look for a perfect match, it's probably one of the players you say on the defensive side. Bam Adebayo can come in and clean up a lot of Vooch's issues. Me personally, a lot of people ain't gonna like to hear. I say Vooch has been at least average defensively this year. I've seen him be worse. He's been a lot better. He's playing well. He's feeling good. But I do think that is something that's very, very interesting coming out of the Miami Heat camp. And I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think when you look at Vooch, Vooch is not only just having a bounce back year, he's playing at what should be an all-star caliber. Now, I don't know if the Bulls are winning enough, if he's going to get the votes, but like Vooch has been giving such great performances, and I could definitely see. I'll say this: Vooch is playing better right now than what Terry Rozier was playing when they traded for Terry.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
If they're gearing up, trying to go on a playoff run, and they see like something that can help them, Vooch is a 20-point per game scorer. Again, at the minimum, even if he does get worse, I mean, 18.5 is basically the bottom you can expect from that. 10 to 11 rebounds per game. He can help him on that part, and he may be able to free Bam to just be up more impactful, as well as Jimmy shouldn't have to do as much scoring. Jimmy Butler has to do as much heavy lifting for this Miami Heat team to be good. You add Vooch to this team, it makes some sense. But let's look at it on the flip side. When you look at the Miami Heat's roster, right, they have to match Nikola Vucevic's $20 million contract. And just looking at this for me, Bobby, the one player that stands out that probably the Miami Heat are going to try to get the Chicago Bulls to take back is Duncan Robinson. Now, I know that's not a player. We don't need any more guards. It's not a player that anybody has kind of outlook that he's going to help the Bulls a whole hell of a lot. But if you do take back the bad contract in Duncan Robinson, it increases your chances to get one of Miami Heat's first-round picks. How do you feel about that?
I take the pick. Duncan Robinson. Look, I mean, my man's, I don't think he's a terrible player. He has his issues like any other player. You can elect to keep him around if you want to. I don't think you necessarily have to. But from what I've seen, a 2028 first-round pick is better than 2031. I will say that. And right now, AK, in the last trade that you did earlier this season, you ain't get nothing back. So if you can get a decent little player and you can free up some money on the back end, because you do have to now consider, as you attempt to move some of these pieces, what are you going to do when the $7 million dries up for Ayo Dosunmu, or if Coby White, you know what I'm saying, with the freeing of Zach LaVine or Nikola Vucevic elevates one more time, and that $7 million or no, $11 million is not good enough. So yeah, I think it's something that you have to entertain. I did see something to where they were looking at of getting rid of Jovic. I thought that was a more interesting prospect than a Duncan Robinson. But I say right now, you got to free up some money and you got to build your draft stock.
Now, listen, I mean, Jovic is not a bad. He's only 21 years old. Right. I wouldn't be mad at that. But the problem is his contract's only $2.4 million. That's like a tenth of Vucevic's contract, right? So maybe it's a twofold. Maybe, and if you get a young player like Jovic, you may not get the first round pick, or maybe be heavily protected. But if it came down to like a Vuce and a Javon Carter, something like that, I wouldn't be mad at it. But or maybe even a THC, as the Miami Heat are looking to go on, to gear up for a playoff run. Maybe they want a THT. Maybe they look at it and say, we can get Vuce to be our starting center. We can get THT to bring some production off the bench. We're giving up Duncan Robinson, who, like you said, isn't a horrible player, but we can get THT, who's been playing well for the Bulls. For that, we'll give them Duncan Robinson, a young player in Jovic, and a protected first, maybe top 14 or something like that protected. I don't hate that, especially considering just a week ago, we heard that the Bulls were asking for a first-round pick and looking back and saying, we got 2 seconds for you.
Hey, that's what I'm saying, because wasn't it rumors that somebody wanted the first, and then the Bulls the Bulls wanted the first, and then it kind of alluded to, hey, we'll take a couple seconds. Hey, yeah. if you can capture that number one, you look all right. And I've been of the mindset, like, if the Chicago Bulls, you want to go out there and find you some talented guy that's going to take you and help you fully lean into the youth movement, you got to take a few bites at the apple with a couple, you know what I'm saying, young players who has a little bit of experience, or who may just need a change of scenery. You might have to take that on so you could take a few bites at the apple to see who needs to stay and who needs to go. Because right now, you don't stop trying to develop this team. I look at Oklahoma City. They had a Josh Giddey. They said, we going to screw him. We know where we drafted you at. We know what type of ability you have. But we like Isaiah Joe a little bit better. And I think the Bulls need to give themselves options to where they can address situations like that. Hey, just throw a name out there. Adama Sanogo, you ain't good enough. We need to replace you or continue this pipeline of player development. And if you're not meeting our standards, we have to move off of you. I hope the Bulls eventually turn into that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we're right now far away from getting there. I mean, I like what the Bulls did with like getting EJ Liddell and getting like a lot of young players, even THT, who, even though he looks 44, is only 24 years old, which is crazy, bro. Every time I see THT's hairline, I'm like, I thank God I'm almost 40 with my whole hairline intact, bro, because Lord have mercy. But yeah, I mean, so if the Bulls really do go down this path and moving Vuce, moving Zach LaVine, and it is about getting younger players in here that can develop, even if you get some young players in here like a Jovic, for example, if you're able to get him back. I know Bulls fans have said Khalil Ware. I'll tell y'all right now, if AK, I don't think you're getting him either. If AK finds a way to swing this deal in which you send out Vuce and get Khalil Ware, and we got Khalil and Modest Musalis from this draft, y'all got to change a lot of what y'all talking about when it comes to AK is all I'm going to say on that.
For real, that'll change the tone for him. And I think that, like, for his situation, to his credit, it hasn't always looked the greatest, but he's pivoted several times. We can say that. And right now, the team is playing more modern basketball. Obviously, they're not a great team, but they've been fun bad, as Big Kev been saying since the start of the season. Fun bad. It's been fun to watch. And they prevailed in some games, so we're like, bro, how y'all just win this game?
Yeah, fun bad has been the perfect way to describe this team this year. And it's been so fun at times that it's made some Bulls fans think we're closer than what we are. Right. And I'm just like, bro, first of all, we have no half-court offense, and we give up 121 points a game. That's not getting you anywhere.
No defensive effort whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't care what the record is. That right there should tell you, even if the Bulls do manage to somehow sneak into the play-in or something, they ain't making it far, not with that defense. But
for real, because you got a top offense, but a bottom of the league defense. You need something more sustainable. Now, if you can work your way up and keep your offense at a decent level in that top echelon of the league, and then you can slowly creep up to that average part of your defense, you will start to see some more consistency out of the squad. But they got to work on to that. They got to work on that, and there's still more work to be done. So don't jump off the porch, y'all.
Real quick before we jump into the next segment, Bobby, if has anything over the last 48 hours, the things that we've heard, has this changed how you feel about, like, how certain are you now that the Bulls are going to get at least one deal done for either Zach or Vuce before the trade deadline?
Hey, I tell you one thing. If the Michael Porter Jr. for Zach LaVine thing is real, I say that's one of the ones you got to pursue. I like Michael Porter Jr. Chicago, you could have had him. I'm just saying, but now you're trying to circle back on it, and you might have to, give up something that you don't necessarily want to give up. But I think it's definitely raising. Me, I was selfish. I got my 25 games. Now it's time to move on. I seen Zach LaVine. I seen Nikola Vucevic.
Yeah.
I love Lonzo Ball. If he still has a place here, cool. But you got to get rid of some people. You got to move assets around. And especially if guys are calling for Zach LaVine after hearing crickets for the last year and a half.
That's a fact. That's a fact. All right, we're going to get into a message from a couple of our sponsors after this. But next up, we're going to be getting into my conspiracy theory in regards to the Chicago Bulls and the two recent potential trade partners we've heard about. But first, we got to get into a message from a couple of our sponsors. Today's episode is sponsored by Built Rewards. If you're a renter, listen up. This is a total game changer. Thanks to Built, you can now earn points on rent payments just like you do with groceries or travel. Paying rent now comes with serious perks, and it's completely free to join. Earn valuable Built points on your rent and everyday spending at no extra cost. Redeem points for flights, hotel stays, and even future rent payments. With over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels in their program, the possibilities are endless. Access unique experiences that are exclusive to Built members. I love using points for travel, and Built makes it so easy to turn rent into rewards. If you're already paying rent, why not make it work for you? Start earning points on rent you've already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/lockedon. That's joinbuilt.com/lockedonnba. Make sure to use our link so they know that we sent you. Don't wait. Start earning rewards today. Also got to talk to you guys about another one of our consistent sponsors here, and that is Game Time. Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means that when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better, and it's the perfect gift. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. All in pricing by toggling this feature on. It shows you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. I know y'all spent too much on your Christmas gifts and you're a little broke. You don't need those surprise fees before you check out. They also have the lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal on the same seats, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Well, Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Bobby. You know you've been on. So I used to have a podcast where I used to get into that kind of deeper stuff, right? Sometimes I like to apply that to sports as well. Over the last 2 days, we've heard about the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat now being involved in the Bulls' two biggest trade pieces. Keep in mind, the Denver Nuggets are the team that Artūras Karnišovas was the assistant general manager of. He was there when they drafted Michael Porter Jr. He would know the medicals of Michael Porter Jr. just as good as any other GM in the league because he saw him. He saw him up close. He heard from the trainers. I'm sure he probably still has resources there as well. When you also look at Wes Unseld Jr. being on the Bulls bench, he was one of the people that was credited to developing Michael Porter Jr. when he was in Denver as well. Then you flip that and look at the Miami Heat. Dan Craig, who is another assistant coach here, he came from that Miami Heat organization where he also developed Bam Adebayo and was credited for that, and Tyler Hero. So, Bobby, the question I want to throw to you is AK using some relationships that are already there to kind of find a way to trade the two pieces that he had some trouble finding deals for earlier in the season?
Absolutely. Because for the last year and a half, it was, well, especially this offseason, Lakers, we don't want them. Clippers, we don't want them. Sacramento Kings, we got DeMar. We don't want them. It was nothing. And AK was kind of backed into that coin, and I like to think about it like this. Hey, when you get in trouble and you need to make some moves, who you going to call? You going to call the people that you connected with. I always live by the saying, it's not what you know, but who you know. And we know that you got to move off these guys because the way that you're trying to move and pivot the direction of your team right now. So I say, why not? Hey, if we can make this thing and we can make it work for both sides, it's a win-win. Our relationship remains strong. Just don't try to BS me. Just don't try to BS me. And you should come out on the other side feeling pretty good. I'm not mad at AK. You definitely had to do this, especially with the rising stock of these players pretty much playing the best in the last, 2 years from Vooch and Zach. You got to do it now. You can't continue to sit on your hands and waste time.
Yeah, I mean, you can, and sometimes you just gotta. And it's not like they're just doing the Bulls a favor. Both these rumored trades make a lot of sense for both teams and what they reportedly are out and looking for, especially the Miami Heat. Like if they're looking to gear up for a playoff run, Vooch makes sense. If the Denver Nuggets who re-sign Aaron Gordon, once that happened, I think everybody kind of thought, oh yeah, Michael Porter Jr. could be on the way out. And Zach LaVine and a Torrey Craig type deal would make sense for them to get to get what they need as well in a scorer. A better isolation score and a player that's really shown he can fit in Zach LaVine. Like the way Zach LaVine is playing now, you tell me like how he's playing complementary to freaking Josh Giddey. You put him there with Jokic and the way that Jokic is able to pass, man, hey, that could be big for them. So it really makes a lot of sense, I think, for what we're hearing. And if AK is using prior relationships, using Dan Craig, like, hey, put in a good word with Pat for me real quick, so we can make that happen. That happens more than what I think a lot of people realize in the NBA. It happens a lot that these prior relationships, people who used to be on either the back end of another coach's bench or in the front office in different roles, that happens a lot. And so I'm not surprised if the Bulls use that to their advantage. It'll be the first time we use anything to our advantage in this level in quite a while.
For real. And that's what you need to do at this particular moment, because right now, it looks good. You know what I'm saying? At least in certain spots. But you like, man, Zach LaVine with a Joker and a Jamal Murray, and the man doesn't. And that was my point on my show. I'm like, we as Bulls fans be like, hey, don't get Zach LaVine for the first 3 quarters. You good. Probably for the half of the fourth, you straight. Once it gets tight, people going full court pressure. My man's get the losing the ball. But guess what? You ain't got to worry about that now. And now you can tailor it to his strength with that catch and shoot 3-point shot. And we know Joker can get hot. Jamal Murray, he has his issues, but he can get hot. And we know Zach LaVine can get hot as Chicago Bulls fans. I think it works for the Denver Nuggets. And when you're talking about acquiring a talented young player with, I believe, still a little bit more upside, maybe, depending on if his role expands, you could probably get a little bit more out of that. But I think the most important thing is that you are bringing a young champion in your locker room to start helping these other young guys look to him potentially, because you know what I'm saying, everybody doesn't want to be a leader, but potentially to be able to be like, hey, on our championship run, this is what we established ourselves, and this is how we became consistent enough and to where we was able to understand the stressors of this game so we can prevail. And that's something that I'm mostly intrigued about, is this championship experience along with this talent as well.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I think when you look at one thing also with this, especially the Michael Porter Jr. piece of all this, if it's the Nuggets, it has to be Michael Porter Jr. I like theoretically, I know people have been like, well, what does this mean for the development of Modest? What does this mean? Like, he's literally stepping into Zach LaVine's role, minutes, everything stays the same for the remainder of this season. Like, what goes forward is what goes forward. But I like the idea of having 3 versatile forwards that you can throw a lot of different looks. If you need nothing but scoring, Modest and MPJ out there in a fast break, like that's dangerous. If you need a mixture of offense, defense, P. Will, Modest, like I like the potential of that. And I don't want to get my hopes up too high. But another part of the conspiracy theory that I want to throw at you before we end this part of the segment is also like, do you think that now with the Michael Porter Jr. and then the Miami Heat with the first round pick or whatever, it helps kind of set a new baseline for what teams can expect? Like, because teams are coming with weak offers. If you're getting an offer of Michael Porter Jr., to me, that means that any other team has to at least meet that. And Michael Porter Jr. is averaging 18.5 on 51% shooting and almost 8 rebounds.
Exactly.
Do you think that does something for other teams that have any type of interest, that they just now realize, hey, that low balling, it probably ain't happening for us no more.
I'm with you on that. The low ball days, at least for right now, momentarily, is over with. I got another conspiracy theory. Zach LaVine missed that game. Look, I ain't saying he faking injuries. I'm just saying the discussions could have started and they like, yeah, sit him down. We want him healthy. We want him good to go. Yeah, I'm just saying that was my conspiracy theory. But I'm just saying, I agree with you. I think that when you come with an offer that includes Michael Porter Jr., I don't want to hear no more of them. We won't get a Jalen. It was a couple guys from Detroit, and I'm like, no way, no way. You know what I'm saying? Like, no way. But it does raise the bar for you. It gives you an opportunity to compare other deals now and be able to take the best deal. Hopefully, it's a few more people calling. I don't think you need the whole entire NBA. You just need a couple teams that's involved, and you can say, hey, this team is offering this, and you just do business the right way, you're going to get the deal that you want. So I say it absolutely raises the bar.
Absolutely. And we'll see, man. We got another update this time on Josh Giddey, which we're going to talk about next. But first, we got to get to a message from FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. That's just something that a lot of betting sites aren't giving you. You get all the information that you need to place an informed bet on the same exact page where you place your bets. I'm not saying that you guys should go and join, but I'm just saying right now, if you did want to join, all you got to do is visit FanDuel.com to join today. And you get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's if you win. Don't come to me complaining if you lose and then you're like, where my $150? I told you if you win, you got to make a smart bet. I'm not out here giving you $150 for free. But with that said, that's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We're Locked on Bulls next. All right, Bobby, last time before we get out of here, man. It's been all good news lately for the Chicago Bulls. So Josh Giddey, who went down in the last game with what looked like a nasty ankle injury, seems to have avoided any major injury. Billy Donovan did say that he is doubtful to play on Thursday. I personally, when it comes to ankles, I wouldn't be surprised if we may not see Josh Giddey for the remainder of 2024, which is only a couple of weeks. And I think it's only ends up being like 4 games, just to make sure that he's rested up, ready to start the top of the year really good. But maybe he comes back before then if he's pain-free. What do you think about Josh Giddey avoiding a major ankle injury?
Hey, it's kudos to him, because me personally, I think that Raptors game was probably like the best I've seen him all season. And that's on both ends of the floor. The defense was, you know what I'm saying, it's still a work in progress, but he was moving his feet and he even had a crazy block I never thought he can do. I'm like, about time you're using your size. Bro, yeah. You're 6'8". Use your size. I'm short. God didn't bless me like you. Don't waste the height. This is why short people got short people syndrome, but that ain't the topic. But I am happy for him, and I agree with you. I think that you absolutely got to take your time with it. This is the right ankle. The ankle that he ruptured a ligament at the end of the Olympics and you know what I'm saying, and worked his way back to even play in this season. And I say you still got a long road ahead of you, and you got some opportunities to give other guys right now. And it's not the end of the world. He's going to miss a couple games, or at least I will expect him to. And you just continue to build off and let these other guys get the reps that they need. And when he's ready to return, you hope that he can, you know what I'm saying, kind of pick up where he left off, because I think that Raptors game, that was a good showing before he went down with the injury.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good game, really good performance and effort from him on both sides of the ball. And like you said, like Josh Giddey, he doesn't have the lateral quickness. He's never going to be like a lockdown defender, but that is one thing, especially when you're a 6'8" player guarding guards. Like, let's be clear, most point guards in the league, we're talking about like 6'5" is the top. You got 3 inches on them, even if they are a tall point guard. Like, right. Use that length a little bit better. But I'm glad that Josh Giddey is it's not anything serious. I'm glad that he'll be back on the court sooner rather than later. And if they have to weather the storm, the one thing that we have depth at is guard. Like, so we still got lots of guards we can throw at people. We're fine if he needs to sit down. I doubt they're going to try to rush him back anyway, and we'll just see how it's going to go. The key thing is getting him back when he's pain-free and not rushing it at all.
For real, there's no need to rush right now. I don't think there's no reason to rush at all this season. Just my personal opinion. You can just take your time with this, allow him to heal up, and just welcome him back when it's time to play basketball, just like you did the other guys that went down with injury.
Yeah.
So just show up and do your job. That's all we ask.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And then maybe with this time, and I'm not saying that, you wish this upon anybody for this, but like maybe with this time, Coby White can actually find his rhythm again, because Coby's been out of rhythm. He's going to be more naturally back on ball at the time that Josh Giddey does have to sit. And maybe Coby can use that to find his rhythm, because I don't know if you broke it down looking at those last 10, 11 games for Coby. It's been rough, my boy.
Yeah, it's been up and down, man. A lot for Coby. And I think that I think this is a good opportunity for him. And some people's gonna look at the scoring output. Yeah, the stats say something, at least for most part, when you look at the entirety of the season. But to your point, when you break it down into sections, it's a bit erratic from Coby White. You know what I'm saying? So you want him to establish himself, especially for me. I thought he deserved the most improved player last season. And
exactly.
I like he should have came into the season with a little bit more of a chip on the shoulder. Not saying that he didn't. Players don't always start out the seasons playing well. Ayo Dosunmu is, the epitome of that. He gets better as the season goes on. You just hope that could be the same thing that happened for Coby White. So I think this is a major opportunity for him. And I'm gonna throw Lonzo Ball in there too. I know he's been in the trade rumors too. I'm just happy to see the guy out there healthy and playing. And this just, if you know what I'm saying, if the organization wants to move him or you stick around, he gives himself another opportunity to continue his career at the end of the day. So I look at all that stuff as opportunities.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Any last thoughts, Bob, before we get out of here? If not, tell them where they can follow you at.
Well, I appreciate y'all for having me on Locked On Network. Y'all do a great job over here. Y'all can find me on Shy Bulls Podcast or Chicago Bears Central. It's still a great time with us. Even when the Bears give you a headache, it's still a great time with us. And make sure you check out the Chicago Central family. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. You guys already know you can follow me at CEO Haize. You can follow us collectively at Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, and who knows where. You may be able to find us on the moon at some point in time with the way Locked On is getting us out there. But that's it for us for today. I'll see you guys on Friday, because this is technically Thursday's episode, but with the news, I wanted to drop it early. Love you guys. Go Bulls. Peace, y'all.